I want to tell you about something outrageous that the Democrats are doing to the Green Party candidate, Howie Hawkins, and trying to get the Green Party removed from the ballot. This is an outrageous story that needs our attention. I mean, if you care about democracy, you care about this presidential election, you care about giving a voice to candidates that are not inside this two-party corrupt system, Democrats and Republicans. Look, I'm a registered independent. I have been for years. And I vote with my head, not with some sort of dogmatic approach to voting. So if there's a candidate, a platform like the Green Party that appeals to you as a voter, you should have every right to voice your vote and pick a Green Party candidate. Just the same with a Libertarian candidate or the People's Party. The list goes on. I mean, other countries are shocked that we only have two parties in this country. I mean, you have European countries that end up having 15 parties. You know, the good rises to the top. Instead, what we're trying to do is trying to suppress the good by getting them removed from the ballot. And that's exactly what Democrats are doing, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Democratic Party, instead of putting up a bold platform on green energy, green jobs, they could have talked about it at their Democratic National Convention. They could have had a really bold initiative for green energy in this country. It could have been a central message on what the Green Party is pulling for. Instead of doing that, instead of incorporating a lot of what the Green Party wants into its party ticket, into its party platform, instead they're trying to suppress that message. They're trying to get rid of that party. Listen to what they're doing, and it's really shocking to me. They're trying to get them kicked off the ballot in a number of states. And Democratic Party officials have basically declared war on the Green Party. They don't want a repeat of what happened in 2016. Just to give you some frame of reference, Hillary Clinton ran a pretty terrible campaign. They could never really figure out what her platform was. They could never figure out their messaging. If you went to her website, it was like hundreds of pages long. She didn't even know. She didn't know what she stood for. They ran a terrible campaign. And when they lost, they didn't want to take credit for why they lost and just say, you know what, the buck stops with me. We ran a terrible campaign. They started pointing fingers at everywhere else, including the Green Party. I remember interviewing Jill Stein at the time she was on my show a couple of times, and she was outraged that basically Democrats tried to blame her for Hillary Clinton's loss, instead of just admitting they ran a terrible campaign. Why did they do that? Well, certain states, specifically in Pennsylvania, where Jill Stein ended up getting 49,000 votes, and Hillary Clinton lost Pennsylvania by 44,000 votes to President Trump. But what they don't talk about, of course, is that Gary Johnson also, whom I've interviewed a number of times, a Libertarian candidate, he got like 3 times the amount of votes that Jill Stein got in Pennsylvania. But no, we got to stop the Green Party. We've got to stop the boogeymen. Look what they're doing in Montana right now. So this is unbelievable, and why the Green Party is not going to be on the ballot in Montana. According to CNN, the Green Party candidates won't be on the Montana ballots because of this Supreme Court action. Montana Democrats basically successfully have gotten 5 Green Party candidates kicked off the ballot there. They're pushing hard because they're actually seeing an opportunity in Montana to win the Senate races. Democrats have been trying and pushing hard, and they took it all the way to the Supreme Court, basically, to get the Green Party candidates removed from the ballot. Listen to how they did this, though. I used to live in Montana, and this is amazing. The Green Party went around door to door, grassroots door-to-door politics in Montana. Now, the population isn't huge in Montana, so you can have a pretty strong ground game and get out door to door and having people sign petitions, right? They get the papers out. They sign a petition asking, hey, John, knocking on your door, do you want a Green Party candidate to be on the ballot and vote in the primary election? Yes, I do. I think a Green Party candidate should be. Great. Thank you for your signature on this petition. I appreciate it. So then they're on the ballot. They're in the primary. Then what happens? Democrats actually went door to door and asked those people that signed their names to remove their signature, basically telling them, look, you know what? Your vote's not going to really count for much because Democrats have a chance to win certain things here in Montana. Why don't you take your vote back? Why don't you take your signature off of this petition? Can you believe that crap? They effectively disenfranchised these voters in Montana. Unbelievable. And so they did. And because enough of them pulled their signature back, because the Democrats went after it. Now the Supreme Court said they don't have enough signatures and they're pulled off the ballot in Montana. That's just one state, one example. Let's go to Wisconsin and some of these battleground states. This is incredibly outrageous. And that's where some of the most egregious stuff is happening in some of these battleground states. The Supreme Court just ruled there in the 11th hour that the Green Party should be tossed off the ticket over a technicality. What's the technicality? Well, the vice presidential candidate on the Green Party ticket, Angela Walker, moved where she lived during the petitioning process. And because of that technicality of address, they're saying we're not on in Wisconsin anymore. And Democrats pushed for that because of that technicality. Where else did they do that? They did it in Texas. That's right. In Texas also, the state Democrats are suing to keep the Green Party off the ticket there because they didn't pay the $5,000 filing fee. But it should be made clear that the $5,000 filing fee to run as a presidential candidate in that state is not completed yet. And other parties think it's unconstitutional that you'd have to pay $5,000. So with that bill, that's not even a finalized law yet. So the Green Party didn't pay the $5,000 filing fee, and Democrats are suing them over them to keep them off the ballot. Now let's go to my home state of Pennsylvania, which is incredibly embarrassing here. And Democrats should be, ashamed of themselves in Pennsylvania as well. Because mail-in voting should have already started in my home state of Pennsylvania. How many of you live in Pennsylvania and are waiting on your mail-in ballots? Guess what? It's delayed. The reason it's delayed is because Democrats are going after the Green Party in Pennsylvania, trying to keep them off the ballot. Yeah, and that's why you haven't received a ballot in the mail yet. Again, according to CNN, the start of Pennsylvania's election is on hold because of a ballot delay. They've gone so far as to allow the court challenges there an aggressive war on the Green Party to delay the beginning of mail-in balloting. I mean, think about it. This should have been already sent to you. How important Pennsylvania is. But county election officials there who they would have started offering absentee or mail-in ballots won't, because they're now waiting on them to perhaps get the Green Party removed from the ticket there. Come on.
Come on, man.
Yeah, Joe, it's your party, man. It's your party. It's disgusting. The reason, and specifically in Pennsylvania, because again, Jill Stein won Pennsylvania, she got 49,000 votes in Pennsylvania. 49,000 Americans voted for her in Pennsylvania because they liked her message. They liked what the Green Party stands for. They support green energy jobs. They support a green energy infrastructure. They support a removal of fossil fuels in this country. All of those things. I mean, go read the Green Party's platform. And by the way, on the show tomorrow, right here, we will have Howie Hawkins, who is the current presidential candidate of the Green Party. So you can ask Howie specifically any of these questions, and I'll make sure to get your questions here in the chat or comments answered tomorrow. So please drop any questions you have for Howie Hawkins right here in the comments below. He will be joining us tomorrow on Morning Invest. I'm super excited about that. But Jill Stein was asked this question, okay? And she was asked the question, did you give the White House to President Trump because you stole votes from the Democrats? Which is a ridiculous question, because we're so programmed to think of a two-party system in this country. Ridiculous. Anyway, an MSNBC host asked her this stupid question, and Jill Stein fired back and had a great response. Listen to this question and answer.
Is it plausible that these Russian actors created enough influence that changed a few thousand votes here and there, and ultimately that could have altered the election?
So let me say the assumption here is that the votes belonged to Hillary Clinton and that that my votes were stolen from someone else. And I think that's an insult to American voters who really deserve to choose, who made it perfectly clear that they did not like. In fact, these were the most distrusted and disliked candidates in recorded history. So to try to excuse my votes as being stolen from Hillary is outrageous. But beyond that, we have data. We actually have scientific data on how people voted. And what we know is that the people who voted for me in vast majority, over 60%, would not have voted if I wasn't there.
Oh, interesting. Did Jill Stein just bring data and facts to a conversation with an MSNBC host? Wow. This is the kind of corporate media stuff that you're going to see. This is the kind of corporate media stuff. I mean, you have Rachel Maddow, frankly. She's been saying that they're the Republican-backed, Russia-backed Green Party to scare people. You got to vote for your corporate candidates. You got to vote for your corporate, Democrats, your corporate Republicans who are bought and sold by big corporations. You got to vote for your Joe Bidens who are bought and sold by big corporations who support, going to the Iraq war, lining defense contractors' pockets, all these big parties and all their big party money and donors. You got to support that. That's the messaging over at MSNBC. Support Donald Trump. That's the messaging over at Fox. That's what you got to do. We can't have a third party candidate. Surely we couldn't. This is disgusting. This is the kind of stuff, write to your representatives and let them know. Make sure you sign petitions for third party candidates. We should have more voices in this country. The fact that Jill Stein got 49,000 votes, and the data does show, she's right, that those people would not have voted for Hillary Clinton. They did not like Hillary Clinton. She ran a terrible campaign. They did not like Donald Trump. They thought he was a crook and a liar. They wanted somebody else. They liked the Green Party message, and Democrats didn't want to include Green Party messaging as part of their platform. So guess what? It exists. So here's what Democrats could do if they wanted these votes, is change. Be more inclusive. Talk about green energy all the time. Talk about the environment. Talk about climate change. The latest data and polling show that climate change is one of the top issues for voters. Just look at what's happening on the Gulf Coast and hurricanes, a continuous deluge of hurricanes, wildfires, hottest season on record in California. These are huge concerns to farmers, and yet no one's talking about it as much as they could be. Now, Joe Biden's starting to talk about it more and more, which is good. But again, why not work with the Green Party, roll this in as part of your party platform to a larger degree, instead of having to get them off the ballot, try to suppress the vote. What's really hypocritical about this whole thing is that this is where Democrats are total hypocrites on, is that this is exactly what they criticize Republicans of doing in minority neighborhoods, is suppressing the vote, suppressing the black vote. Right? That's what Democrats always criticize of Republicans, trying to suppress the vote. And yet this is exactly what Democrats are doing to the Green Party voices. So now in Montana, you can't vote for a Green Party candidate because Democrats got you thrown off the ballot. And they're trying to do the same thing in Pennsylvania, Texas, Wisconsin, and others. Disgusting. Disgusting. Smash that like button, please. Right now, smash that like button as many times as you can. Smash it, smash it. Tomorrow on the show, we've got Howie Hawkins, the presidential candidate for the Green Party. He will be here. We're going to ask him about this voter suppression. We're also going to talk to him about the Green New Deal and what, if anything, we will see from this Green New Deal and the Green Party platform. So presidential candidate Howie Hawkins will be here on the show. We don't slow down. This is the only place you're going to get this kind of news. I don't see him being interviewed on the mainstream media, so he will be here. So subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on that little bell notification so you'll be notified when we go live. Thank you so much for your support. And don't forget, also, you can sign up for our daily newsletter as well. We publish it every day. morninginvest.com is how you subscribe to that newsletter, so it's delivered to your inbox first thing in the morning. So our thanks to you for supporting the show.